welcome to the RTO Show. I'm your host, Pete Shau, and today we've got my man, Will Jackson. Listen, you guys don't know, I saw Will for the first time at FRDA this year, and I was starstruck a little bit. That's
so nice.
So we were like that, and I was like, man, this guy gets it. But you know what the thing is, too, is that it wasn't just about getting it. It was about the presentation.
Oh, thanks.
We need, and listen, for all you guys out there, I'm not saying anything bad about who we already have, but sometimes it just comes across a little dead, a little flat, and the message is there. It's definitely there. But the question is, are they getting out of it what I want them to get out of it, right? Do they see the message that I'm pushing, and I'm like, freaking Will Jackson gets it, man. He's talking to rent-to-own people. And it's exactly what I saw. I was like, listen, I got to write this down. Okay, I got to write that down. And I was like, you know what? The heck with that. I got to talk to this guy.
Man, thank you. That's the highest compliment you can give me, man. Thank you so much.
It was awesome. So we met at the FRDA show, and Will does not do traditional rent-to-own. He does the wheel and tire.
Right.
The wheel and tire franchise. One of the best R&R. Well, we'll let you get into that. But, one of the best that's out there. And listen, I can tell you right now, they are doing things that are not being done right now. They are new. And there's nothing I love more than watching rent-to-own with a 40-year-old idea come new again. I love it. I love it. So the team development director.
That is me.
That is you at R&R Tire Express. So you've been there for 5 years, but you started this role a couple years ago?
I did. So the story goes, I started with R&R Tire Express as a training and development specialist, and my job was to travel store to store and help out where I could in training our team, whether it be with things they need to learn about rent-to-own, things they need to learn about automotive. The thing was, I'll be honest with you, it was a challenge for me because I came into this industry. I had never worked in rent-to-own, and I had never worked in automotive either. So it was interesting to go store to store, and they're like, hey, how do you? And I'm going, I don't know. I really don't know. So there was... I did the job for a while, and I just realized, I'm like, hey, this is really not my speed. And so I took a break from R&R for about 2 years, maybe a year or so, and went and did something else. And then Adam Sutton and Matt Warren approached me and said, hey, we know the role that you were in initially didn't really work out. We have this new role for you. Would you be interested in coming back and really transitioning from a training development specialist to team development director and focusing on really the leadership principles of what we're trying to teach? Because like you said, R&R, we're trying to do things different, right? Yeah. We're saying, hey, there's rent-to-own. There's a long history and a foundation of rent-to-own there. And we're going to take some things from, leadership and development and invest into our people. I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, but what we say so my position, I am overseeing the training and development department. So I still oversee training. And we say that our goal is to educate, guide, and inspire. So educate, we want to give you foundational knowledge of how to do the job. And we have great people on the team. We have Ed Lundeau and Aaron Kidd. They're just really great with the foundational knowledge of what we do. Of course, we have help from people like Ryan Schrader. I know a lot of people in our industry know Ryan just from going to different shows and things. And they're incredible at that. Then we have guide. So we say, hey, if you're ever in need of help, we're always a phone call away. But then inspire is the part that I get to focus on, which is really fun, which is we believe we want to leave you better than we found you, right? We want your life to be fantastic inside the walls of R&R Tire Express and outside the walls. And so we spend a lot of time focusing on that stuff too, which has been really fun for me.
Let me ask you something. Are you getting everything out of your rent-to-own business? If you're not an A-Pro member, then the answer is probably no. Look, advocacy is A-Pro's bread and butter. This is why they were created and what they do best. But here's the thing. A-Pro membership is about way more than advocacy. A-Pro connects you to the movers and the shakers of the industry. People who've been there, done that, and they can help you do it even better. A-Pro's monthly webinars give you expert insights and actionable takeaways. It's like having a masterclass for your business every single month. Got questions about complex regulations or sticky situations? No problem. A-Pro's legal hotline gives you direct access to experts who have got the answers. That's a peace of mind that you can't put a price on. And let's not forget the resources, news, updates, and tools that keep you ahead of the curve. Scholarships for your team? Check. Disaster relief when you need it most? Double check. A-Pro is your ultimate support system in the rent-to-own world. So stop settling for less. With A-Pro, members get more. more support, more connections, and more success. Head over to rtohq.org and join the A-Pro family today. Because in this business, more isn't just better, it's essential. See you at the top with A-Pro. I love the way you describe it because, talking about it beforehand and talking about it now, it is the most fundamental thing to want to do what you're doing. Listen, I get it. People are out there. I got to pay bills. They're racking up. I got a car payment. I got a house payment. I got to take my wife, my kids. But to have a job is different than having a career.
Right.
And that is huge.
Yeah.
And one of those things that I've noticed is like when I walk through, and of course this was when I was taking, I go to interview Adam Sutton and I get in there and I'm like, wow, I didn't expect this. I really didn't. So I walk in and there's offices everywhere and it's very new. It's very happening. And I was like, wow, this is awesome. So I go into the office and he's telling me about this stuff and we start talking and walking around and man, I'm seeing the gym and the way the bathroom's set up and I'm seeing the studio in the back and I'm like, these guys are getting it. And what's funny is because Adam, we're back there talking, and he's like, I got to show you this. So we go into the training room, and he's like, yeah, I'm thinking about knocking that wall down because we got to make it bigger. And I'm like, dude, this is bigger than almost like 90% of the places I know of. And he's like, yeah, it's not big enough. Yeah. We have to make this work. And so that passion comes through, when you're talking about a passion project, it comes through because you're like, hey, this is good. Not good enough.
Right.
This is not where we want to be. We want to be somewhere else. We want to be, I don't want to be on the curve, period. I want to be on the head of the curve. I want to be on the tip of the spear. I want to be in front of the arrow.
Yes.
Period. And so that coupled with FRDA the idea was cleats to clipboards.
Yes.
And so, man, I was in awe. Number one, because dude, you have this voice. You have this. I'm glad I'm recording this now because it is voice. Man. You have the right voice to make this, that's for sure. But so coming through, and the ideal concept was your direction on leadership. And guys, we make this problem all the time. And I will say this, we do this all the time. We get our best workers who do an absolutely great job, and we put them in a position where we think, we'll just show everybody else.
Yeah.
And man, that's not their strong point.
Yeah.
They are keyed into doing what they do, and it's okay to put them in that position, but we got to give them leadership skills.
Right.
And we're so quick to say this is how you call. Let me sit down with you. Let's do a last man standing. Let me teach you on sales. Let me teach you about how they walk in the door. Let me teach you about his product. Okay, you got that? Sure. Go teach everybody else.
Right.
But leadership it's its own deal. And the way you put that was so awesome. I mean, tell us a little bit about, first off, I love the name, but where does the idea come from? Where did we say, okay, there's a disconnect here. We've got to fix this.
Yeah, for sure. So great question. And we had an MIT program. So we were bringing in, it started small, like most things, right? It started small. We had an MIT program where we were bringing people in and we would have someone quit in a store. Hey, our manager quit. They left. They went somewhere else. They had a better opportunity, whatever it is. And then now we have to replace them. But we don't have a bench. So what do? We look to the nearest best salesperson or best account manager and go, hey, we're going to have you come in and do the manager job. And we'd bring them into home office. And when I came back for this position, my responsibility was, hey, we need to make sure they're equipped to be the manager. Well, what that looked like was they'd come in and, hey, okay, you're going to spend an hour with HR, you're going to spend an hour with this person, you're going to spend an hour with ordering, you're going to spend an hour with this. And they would lead with a lot of technical skills, but they would get in the role and they wouldn't succeed. And we go, well, what's the problem? And then I'm hearing, Larry and Adam and Matt King and others go, Matt King, he's our VP of corporate operations, and they're going, hey, we just don't have a bench. And so we had this idea to say, okay, well, what if we treated an MIT program differently? Instead of going, hey, we need a manager, so now you're in the MIT program, go, hey, let's identify these people ahead of time and go, hey, well, we know that, let's say CJ is a fantastic salesperson. Well, let's get CJ ready to be a leader before he has to be a leader, before we just drop them in and say, hey, you should lead. So we said, hey, CJ, we need you to take 2 days to come over to home office, and we're going to teach you not how to do payroll, not how to have better product knowledge, not how to lock up at night. We're going to teach you how to lead people. Listening to the show, I know you and I are both big fans of Simon Sinek.
Oh, God, right? I love Simon Sinek.
Love it. And he has this quote where he says, hey, leadership is like a muscle. right? You have to work it out. And if you don't work it out, it gets weaker. And if you do work it out, it gets stronger. And so we can't just take someone and throw them into a position and go, hey, lead people. It's a skill, just like anything else we teach. And so to just be transparent with you, it came from my own personal story of, man, I had a moment in my life where I was at a job and I was working and things were successful. And as far as what I was doing was successful, but I left that job and I went somewhere else, and my buddy took my position, and he called me and he said, hey, man, like, I heard you're looking to leave this job you're at. Would you be interested in coming back and working with me, and we can get together and do some awesome stuff? And I said, that sounds great. He goes, okay, well, let me have some conversations. And he had the conversations with these people that I'd worked with for 10 plus years. And he called me and said, hey, we have a problem. And I said, what's the problem? He said, they don't want you back.
Oh my goodness.
And I said, oh, okay, well, what's up? And he said, the quote they gave is, we'd love to have his talent, but we don't want him. He's toxic. He is full of ego. He can't take feedback. Just a list of things. And, I had a decision to make in that moment because things weren't going great at my current job either. And they were telling me some of these things. And I was like, oh, well, that's just them. They don't know how to manage me. And I had a moment where I had to go, okay, I can either walk away from this and go to another job somewhere else and have the same issues and have the same problems, or I can stop and look at myself and go, yeah, the problem is probably me, right? It's probably me. And so I did. And it wasn't fun at first, right? But I called all those people and I said, hey, I need you to give it to me straight, because we have to seek out feedback from other people. They're not usually just going to give it to us freely. And we can get into all that later. But yeah, all this teaching literally comes from me going, this is what I needed and still need all the time. When you hear me talking Cleats to Clipboard, I'm talking to me, right? When you hear me talking about feedback, I'm talking to me, right? Still, because we're all working to be better all the time. And so, yeah, to get back to the question, we brought those people in. We said, hey, we'll teach you how to lead. And we started doing it one or two at a time. And we started seeing success. When those people got promoted, all of a sudden, yeah, we still taught them when they got promoted how to do payroll and all that kind of stuff. But all of a sudden, they have a different mindset. And we had Jeremy Frazier. He's one of our managers in up north in Indiana. Forgive me if I get that wrong. I think it's Indiana. And he had a complete turnaround. And when he was asked by Larry, like, hey, what happened? He goes, leadership training. It was just leadership training that shifted my mindset. And so many times I think we get into a place like, oh, that's just hokey stuff, or it doesn't matter, or it feels good. But we were able to actually correlate it back to gains, right? Like, we saw an increase in COR. We saw an increase in revenue. And we're like, hey, what happened? And his answer is like, oh, I just started treating people different in the store. And not just team members, but customers. So that's where it started. And then it just grew from there.
Well, I mean, the thought of, listen, there's task driven and there's skill driven. And task is, hey, do your, get all, if you want to do something and you get task driven, it's a simple project. It doesn't mean that it doesn't have to be taught, but like, you need inventory, get your inventory done. You need tags done, get your tags done. You need the time cards done, do the time cards. It doesn't require skill. It requires, did I check this guy off? Did he really take a lunch? Did I clock it in the right way? That's not really a skill. But when you're talking about management, when you're talking about putting somebody in a position over other people, and the hardest thing I've ever noticed is when you tell them, listen, if you do start doing this yourself, as you have been for the last 2-3 years, you're probably going to fail. Right. You have to learn to do what you did through that guy, that gal, that person, and that newbie over there. Right. And all of a sudden, it's like, I have to be hands off to do the wondrous things I've done with these hands.
Right.
And showing somebody, the ability to be able to teach, the ability to be able to say, listen, and this is the hardest part. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. You are not really that successful until you found somebody, you've taught them, and then they've been able to teach somebody else.
Right.
Because, great, you teach them, great, now they're good. But it's like one of those things, you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day.
Yeah.
You teach a man how to fish, he will feed him for a lifetime.
Man, absolutely.
So I love the idea of this is it just pulls me in. But I have a question.
Please.
Okay, so you're this guy, right? We're going to say former Will, right?
Okay, go. Former Will.
Okay.
Yeah.
So former Will hits this wall and goes, you know what? As hopefully some of us, we all do when we go, it's time to really like make a change, right? For the better, whatever the case is, whether I got to move, whether I got a better job, whether I just internally look and say, I could do better. Now, that Will turns into the director right?
Yeah.
And getting these people built up. What strategies did you use from that implementation point to where you are now to say, I'm better at teaching leadership, I'm better at coaching, from being the guy who probably needed to hear it the most to the guy who's rawing other people?
Yeah. Again, excellent question. I think what it was for me, when I found, there are a few resources that I found immediately, right? Michael Hyatt and Company, they are based out of Franklin, Tennessee. He had a podcast called Lead to Win. I think it's changed now to the Double Win, maybe, but still a great podcast. Check it out. It's awesome. And he wrote a bunch of books, and I dove in there first, and then from there it was to Simon Sinek, and then to all these other books. I just listened to podcasts and read as much as I get my hands on. When I realized what I had been doing to people, right? Because I think all of us, internally, we want to build value into people, right? We know what's right. We know what's not right. But I was just having this conversation with Matt Warren just a couple of days ago. He was asking me, he goes, hey, we were talking about my story. He goes, do you think that's nature or nurture? Like, do you think that's just in you, or can you teach that to someone? And I say, you definitely can teach it to someone. Because I had to learn. But what I had to do was, after reading all these books and seeing all these things, I had to go, okay, I can no longer trust my own intuition, because the choices that I've been making have been hurting people. So when someone says something and I get mad inside, I have to stop and go, well, hang on. Let me just think this through, because this emotion that I'm feeling, what I'm doing, that's been hurting people. So let me think through it again and go, okay, no, they probably didn't mean that personally against me. You just have to stop trusting your own intuition, and make those changes inside. So when that happened to me, I said, okay, there's got to be other people out there going through this same thing. I did listen to your podcast with Adam. He was telling you a little bit of the story about how we got connected. How I wound up landing this job with them is we were having a conversation. So if you missed that episode, you should go back and listen to all the episodes.
You should always listen to all the episodes.
Because they're great. You should go back and listen to all these shows. But he was telling the story about, I used to do commercials for them, and I still do commercials for them and do things like that. But we were coming back from one of our first commercial shoots, and the videographer who was shooting our commercial was on the plane with us. And I'm telling Adam this story that I've been going through. Like, oh, yeah, but well, that videographer worked with me at the last job. And he was, just by pure happenstance, we got put together. And he's on the plane. I'm like, yeah. And, I said, I've been able to forgive myself and, really move on. And he said on the plane, it's my friend Brian, we're very close now. He looked at me and said, well, I've not forgiven you. And just straight up like that. And I said, hey, thanks for sharing. And so we start talking and we start working through our issues on the plane. And so, but from there, Adam's like, hey, tell me more about, this. And I was like, well, here's my passion. And I feel like if I can keep others from having to go through what I went through, and that's where he said, hey, would you like to come on and do some of this for our team? And so I know I'm going, see, Pete, here's a question. I talk too much, right? So anytime, just look at me and be like, hey, man, get to the point.
Listen, sometimes, I love to stick on subject when it matters. Yeah. But the truth is, the journey is always more important than where you've gotten to.
Yeah.
And I want people to hear that. It's not just the director of coming in and telling you, this is how you be a great leader. Just do this and you do this. But it matters to people when they're listening and they go, yeah, I do know that guy. He was a pain in my butt.
Yeah.
And now he happened to be somebody somewhere that's doing something better for himself, better for the company.
Yeah.
How do I get there?
Absolutely.
And so, yeah, listen, that matters. Those things matter. To be able to look back and go retrospectively, I probably screwed the pooch on that.
Yeah. Well, let me say this. And nothing against my former employer. They were awesome. I still love them. We're very close to this day. Most of my best friends still work there. But they didn't do me any favors by not giving me the direct feedback that I needed to change. And I think so many times we hold back feedback as, oh, it's going to be awkward or whatever. It took them giving me feedback after I left. If they felt that way, right, before I left, I wish they would have told me when I was there, right, to go, hey, you're toxic, you're this. And maybe they did, and I just wasn't listening. I was in a place that I couldn't hear it. But the passion to do this job came from, I didn't want anybody to have to go through what I had to go through if they were going through it, believing that, hey, you may have a team member out there right now that you're going, oh, man, they're so talented, but I just can't stand being around them. Or, oh, man, they have so much potential. Well, I would look at you and go, man, you have the greatest opportunity to turn that person into their full potential, right? But it's difficult. It's giving them real feedback. It's working with them. It's coming in every day and focusing on them, not me, right? I was listening to a book recently, and they said, a great leader doesn't create followers. A great leader creates other leaders. And so that was where my passion came from. I said, hey, if we can take these people and if we can help them open their eyes, if I can continue to open my own eyes through research and teaching. And so, yeah, we cover a lot of that in the training, which I'm sure we'll get to a little bit later. But yeah, that was it, man. I would love to say that I don't struggle with some of that stuff that I used to. I still do. I literally this week, right? Literally this week that I'm thinking about things that I went through. But if I can help anyone else along in their journey, that's what it's all about for me.
Well, I want people to understand that, when you see people on stage, when you see people talking to you, when you see somebody at the FRDA show and they've got a great clipboard set and they're talking and the slides are happening, guys, nobody's perfect.
No, not at all.
And so they're up there usually, and I'm going to say this usually because I don't cover everybody, but because something has happened, circumstance in their life that they've said, you know what, I can teach somebody not to make this mistake or how to mitigate the issues from the mistake that was made. I want you to learn this. I want you to learn that. But the idea is, guys, if you ever really understand, the idea is I'm going to give you a bunch of knowledge, and I hope that some of it sticks.
Yeah.
I hope that you take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 little things out of this and change your day.
Right.
Because I can say, if anybody knows, you read a book, I couldn't tell you what was chapter 1. I have no idea. What was chapter 7? I have no idea. But you know what I took out of it? There were these 5 things that I needed to get better at.
Yeah.
And those things stuck with me. And it's great not only to have that idea where, listen, I might not come away from this a changed, perfect person, but if I can hold on to that one golden nugget where somebody says to me, I haven't forgiven you yet.
Yeah.
And you go, damn, everything else needs to stop right now.
Yeah.
What are we talking about? Because you don't know. And I love the idea. We're going to talk, if you guys don't know, so RTO World 2025, we're in Omaha, and the first thing I see is the F word. Now, listen, if you guys know the show, we don't say it here, but we say a lot at home, and we're like, oh my God, let me hold off on that. I wanted to find out. So I love the way it pulls you in. I love the idea because sitting in there really made me go, you know what? I think that's a facet that I have not done right. And it didn't get to me in a point like, gosh darn it. But I was like, you know what? Out of all the things that I've done, out of all the times that I've sat people down, I've sat with salespeople, drivers, collectors, GMs. I've sat with other RMs. And you know what? Out of, let's say it was 100, let's say it's 150. I don't really remember one where somebody said, hey, why don't you tell me what you think? Why don't you find out what they think? It's more like, you're not doing this right. Let me show you how.
Right.
And I didn't even talk to them yet.
Yeah.
I don't even know where the deficiency is yet to correct it. I'm just going, you know what? I'm going to correct it because that's what I do. Us leaders, we go in, we fix things, and you're not right, and I'm going to tweak you. And it's like, whoa. Wow. But anyways, let's get back to Cleats and Clipboard.
Yeah, sorry, Cleats and Clipboard.
So FRDA happens. This comes out. So your subject matter and where you get it from. What made you decide to go, okay, I'm gonna write something down for this? And was this something that you put together for FRDA, or was this something that R&R had that you said, you know what, I want to share this with FRDA?
Yeah, I've got to give credit to Tracy Cintron. She came to me, and Tracy, we work together every day. And our relationship is usually Tracy tells me what I'm going to do, and then I do it. And so she walked into my office. Smart man. Yeah, she walked into my office, and she was like, hey, there's FRDA. I told them that you could speak, and you're going to speak. And I said, oh, okay. But Cleats to Clipboard, we had written for, Cleats to Clipboard, we had written for the leadership training. And it was really the first one, and of course, there's nothing new under the sun, right? All of this information is pulled from books. There's a gentleman that we work with a lot named Joe Peachy, and I asked him. We were talking one time. I said, "Hey, we were talking about a speaking business and stuff." I was like, "How do you, everyone's heard this stuff already, and nothing's really your original idea because you're just pulling from different things." And he's like, "Hey, you're an information broker. You read the book, and they didn't, right? And so you're here to translate."
That's a great,
right?
That's a great way to put it.
Shout out to Joe. I was like, Joe, this is genius. But I'm like, he's like, hey, you read the book, they didn't. You're translating to them, so they don't have to read the book. So really, Cleats to Clipboard was a bunch of things put together that's just to say, hey, if you're a high performer and you've been promoted to leadership, if you've ever been promoted to leadership, 99% chance you are a high performer, and now you're in the role, and you just keep doing the same things that got you there, but you can't because it's a new job. And Simon Sinek, you're no longer responsible for the job. You're responsible for the people who are responsible for the job. And it really is trying to teach a group of high performers, hey, I know you want to lace up the cleats. There's people out there right now, they watch college football every single weekend, just started back right last weekend, right? They're like, oh man, when I was out there, I used to could. No, you can't. No, you can't, right? You were great in your day and you did awesome. But the job of a coach is not to be like, let me lace up the cleats and get out there and show you boys how to do it. It's saying, hey, I'm going to hold the clipboard and I'm going to call the plays and I'm going to get you to be the best version of you that you can ever be, right? It's my job to guide you, create boundaries, give you wisdom, give you experience from what I've come from to go, hey, I'm now going to make you the best you can possibly be.
Sounds like a Phil Jackson story.
Right. Yeah.
Like the guy plays, he's all right. Mm-hmm. And then he goes on to lead some of the best elite players in the entire NBA.
Yes.
To like success after success after success. It's not a one time, it's not a two time, it's not a three time. We're talking about Pete's. One Pete, two Pete's, and then I think Lakers, I don't know if they had a three Pete or they back to back, but it's unbelievable. Mm-hmm. To be able to do that.
Yeah.
That's an amazing thing. I'm going to tell you right now, though, just so you're aware. Now on my resume, it's going to say information broker.
That's it. That's it. You are now an information broker.
Adding that line. What was the podcast? I was an information broker.
Exactly.
I love that idea. I love the way that sounds. So we're going through the halls of RTO world. Mm-hmm. And listen, I had a lot of things going on. So I worked some stuff with the Abro, and I had some of the Legend series going on.
You're a busy guy.
I was going back and forth, and man, I'm literally going on the paper, and I'm like, the F word. How do I not go to that? How do I not show up for that? And man, did that open my eyes. So we're definitely going to come back to that.
Yeah.
But I got pages. I got pages to talk about.
Well, I got time, so let's do it.
So when you're doing this directional thing, mm-hmm. where you're starting to create leaders even before the process happens. Let's say, like you said, you have somebody, you get them ready before they're even there, and now mm-hmm. When they're there, they're not going deer in the headlights like, oh my God, I didn't know this was going on.
Right.
How did you select those people?
Oh, so what's interesting is when we first started this, they were selected by their leadership, right? So we said, hey, this is a service that we can provide. So we're a franchisor, of course, and we've got franchises across the country. But for our corporate stores, we have corporate store leadership in Matt King and Kyle Parman. And they selected people, said, hey, these are the people that we have identified as potential leaders. They would bring them to us. And then, we followed up every now and then. There's a couple students that we talk to still. They're in their managerial roles now, and they're doing a great job. And and listen, the other thing we realized, we brought people in, we put them through the program, and guess what? Like, management is not for everybody, all right? Like, that's the hardest thing too, is to bring someone in and go, hey, they may be a great salesperson, and they may be doing all this, but I'm just telling you right now, we've been through the content, and they don't get it, right? You can put them in there, but at your own peril, because they're just gonna do what they've always been doing. And that's not to say that over time we couldn't get them there, but when we would take them through the course, we would just go, I don't think this person really gets it.
Well, you gotta remember, there's always the other side of the seesaw.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Listen, things are not always great. Sometimes you're like, hey man, I've got this person. I think they can make it. They are just one type of person that I think is going to make it. And then afterwards, you realize either they're not ready yet,
right,
or they don't want to be in the position that you want to put them in.
Pete, I couldn't have said literally with management, leadership, anything. People have certain seats on the bus that they belong in, and then they don't. And that's not to say that, you're not a manager, so you're less of a person. Not at all, right? It's just your skill set and your ability. There are some people that we do a disservice to by going, you're the best salesperson, so now you're going to lead people. Maybe they just wanted to continue to be the best salesperson, right? Maybe they wanted, if they made the jump to leadership because of money, it's like, oh man, that's not the right move.
That's not a good motivator.
That's not a great motivator, right? Maybe let's increase their commissions and just have them continue to sell and be the best salesperson they can be, because they will be happier. Because every day in organizations across the country, we put people in positions that we think they want or we think they'd be good at, and they're going to work every day miserable because they're like, I just really want to sell tires, right? I didn't really want to manage people, but I got put here and I felt like it was the right thing to say and do, and it furthers my career. And it's just being honest with yourself and going, hey, maybe that's not the right person for this role, and that's okay.
Well, sometimes I think what we need to do is tell people it's okay to not want that.
Yeah.
Whether it be not right now, but you want it in the future, or you don't want it at all. It's okay. And you know what? It's okay to tell me that too.
Yes.
Because what I don't want to do is, in my mind, I'm going to put you through how many ever days, how many ever weeks, how many ever months. I'm going to get you ready. And then in my mind, I'm going to think, I got somebody who's on the bench ready to go.
Right.
And you're dreading every moment. And then come the moment, you fumble. And not because it's lack of training, not because it's like something that you can't do. It's just something that doesn't resonate with what you are inside. And it's like, it's okay.
I mean, think about this. I'm sure if you're listening to this right now, you may have done this. And if you've done it, you've joined a league of people across the nation and the world that have done this. You had a person, they were fantastic at the job they did. You promoted them into leadership. They suffered and couldn't do it. We let them go. Right. And you've taken someone who was thriving and flourishing, put them in a role that they did not flourish in, and we let them go. And we go, oh man, they really fell off. Or we didn't listen to them, ask them questions, treat them like people, like we were talking about earlier. Hey, listen, I didn't even ask them questions. We didn't go, hey, do you like this? And you can be honest with me, and I'll give you your sales job back. Right? And we'll find someone else to do it. And that's no shame on you.
Go back and keep killing it.
Right.
Go back and kill it.
Go back and do what you do so well. But we put people in positions and we go, no, this is for you. And they're telling you, hey, I don't think this is for me. But we just keep pushing them until we go, oh, man, they really let us down and we had to let them go. Did they? Or did we let them down? Right? By not listening to them and putting them in the place that they want to succeed.
That internal retrospect is hard.
It's hard.
And
man.
listen,
it's hard.
And most of the times what a lot of people don't understand is, I've always said, if you're going to invest, the first investment you need to make is in yourself. The first investment that you need to understand is yourself. You got to walk into the mirror and go, whether it's what I can see internally, or whether somebody can come and help me, or whether there's a group of people that can come and tell me. I hate to say that there might be a group of people that can look, this is really what you need. But the truth is, you don't learn what you need or where you need to grow just by yourself. Can you try? You could try, but I don't think it's going to matter as much from hearing other people and going, this is where your burn points are. This is where your hard parts are. And then investing in I've got to learn to read. I've got to learn to retrospect. I've got to learn to listen. And and I don't want to say any one is more important than the other one. I've got to learn to implement all these darn things that I've been listening to and hearing and people have been telling me I need to do, and actually do it.
Yes. And you can, and if you're sitting here listening going, well, I don't enjoy podcasts or I don't enjoy reading. I didn't do any of that stuff. It literally was one random person who saw me struggling. I didn't want to listen to them. I'm like, I'm fine. Right. But they were like, hey, I think you need to listen to this podcast. And I just begrudgingly listened to it. And then I said, oh, okay, that's not so bad. Let me listen to another one, listen to another one. I wasn't a reader. I would buy all these books, and I looked impressive because you'd come in my house, and there's all these books, but I wasn't reading them, right? And then I'm like, well, let me just read one. Oh, let me read another. Let me read another. Like, you will get there. Even if it's a small step at a time, you will learn to go, oh, you will see the change that is happening in your life. People will call it out, and you go, hey, there's something different about you. It's like when we lose weight, right? And you're sitting across the table, someone goes, hey, man, have you lost some weight? And you just feel so good. You're like, oh, and even if you're not trying to, you're like, oh, I guess the shirt fits me great today, right?
Well, you're in the mirror every day going, I didn't lose it. It was a pound last week and a pound before. But then when somebody says it, you're like,
yes.
Oh my God, it's working.
It's working.
I don't want that cake.
That same thing will happen with leadership if you will just take the time to sit and learn it. Yeah. I mean, again, I only know it because it happened to me, and it still happens to me all the time. I'm still working on myself every single day.
Hey everyone, it's Pete Shau here from the RTO Show podcast, and I want to tell you about a company that's making a real difference in the rent-to-own space, Wow Brands. I've seen firsthand how they approach marketing, and let me tell you, it's not just about ads. Wow Brands builds complete digital ecosystems designed specifically for the rent-to-own industry. Their e-commerce and lead generation strategies are built to bring in qualified leads. And did I mention that they are actively working with the rent-to-own industry while also being members of APRO and TRIB? Listen, these folks are passionate problem solvers. They don't just slap something together. They design, build, and scale the kind of digital retail tools your business needs and your customers actually want. So if you're serious about growing, reach out to Wow Brands at wowbrands.com. I trust them, and I think you will too. Well, I got to say, it's very comforting to have somebody be able to articulate their points the way you do. It's very comforting to have somebody speak the way you do, and I've heard it twice, so I like it. But I got to say, one of the biggest fears that humans have is standing in front of other human beings and literally be the only one speaking because judgment is real.
Right.
So how did you get there? How did you be able to overcome? And I'm not saying maybe you didn't have to overcome it, but I know I did. But like to be able to get to that point to say, not only am I going to teach you something that matters to me, I'm going to teach you Cleats Clipboard, I'm going to teach you the F word. I'm going to do it in a very good way where I'm not fumbling on the mic and I'm not like, every 5, I kind of hate that. Not that the person doing it is terrible, but it's like, it does take away from the thought process.
Yeah.
And it kind of does stop people in their thought process. Oh, okay, I'm following you, but you keep stopping. And when you have that gift to be able to just orate what you have to say and get it out and not be so mindful of, I'm in front of a room full of people. It's more like, let me teach you something in a calm manner that you're going to understand. Well, how did you get there, man? Because let me tell you, my road was long and terrible. It was hard. It was a rough road.
I got a question for you before we start. Have you ever watched Hot Ones? Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
When people sit across from Sean Evans and go, "Man, you're so good at this," I want to tell you the same thing. Like you ask the best questions. Like you're so good. You're so good. I know you know this, but you're so good. Okay, so yeah, I grew up. Believe it or not, if you know me personally, and I've probably told you this story, but man, I grew up a very, very shy kid, like nerd in the classroom, made fun of. Went to a small private school in Alabama when I was growing up, and just got made fun of terribly. Transferred to a public school when I was in the 8th grade. Got involved in drama class and different things like that. So how I learned to get in front of people is through drama class, through church. I learned to play the guitar, and I started leading worship in my church.
Oh, good.
Man, I always had something to hide behind, right? It was like, oh, hide behind a guitar or singing, or hide behind a character that I'm acting. And then you do that long enough, and you realize, someone told me, I gotta say, my grandmother was the one who told me this, and it changed my life. She said, hey, if people are laughing with you, they can't laugh at you. And so what I learned is like, hey, if I were made fun of, or if somebody was like, oh man, like, what are you doing up there? You're like an idiot. I would just laugh with them. I'm like, yeah, I do look like an idiot, right? And that launched into a career of, I worked for a long time making kids content and being silly and stupid. And you always find that. But the thing about speaking to people, it was different, because at first I was nerve-wracking, because I'm like, okay, well, I know I'm passionate about this information. Because listen, when you're playing music, you hide behind a guitar. When you're acting, you can hide behind a character. Fill in the blank, whatever it is, you can hide behind. But when you are speaking to people and you're like, hey, I have something to say here,
yes,
right? Or I'm leading a podcast and I'm going to create conversation. Man, for me, how I get over those jitters, and it's not that they're not there, because they are. I think about the audience and I go, okay, I'm going to go to RTO World. I want to respect these people's time so much. If they're going to come in here, yes, and they're going to sit down and they're going to listen, when I stand up, my first thought is not how cool I can look how whatever. I have 3 core values in my life: simplicity, authenticity, and fun. I want to make leadership in anything I do. I like simple, straightforward. I don't like complex. I like a straight line from point A to B. Authenticity, it is literally the thing. And listen, I'm not great at it. I falter all the time, but if I can be as real as I can be to someone, I'm going to talk about my flaws. I'm going to talk about the things that I struggle with. I'm not going to hide behind this facade of like, I've got everything all together. And then fun. Like, I like people to laugh, right? I love comedies. I love whatever. I goof off with my friends all the time. And so I take those 3 things and I go, hey, if you can come in, you're going to take your time. People are taking time to listen to us right now. You took your time to invite me onto this podcast. And I go, hey, I want to show up today. And I want to be simple and clear in what I say. I want to be incredibly authentic and be real, and not try to, put on some kind of show. And then I just want to have some fun. I want to laugh and be. So you came and you sat on like literally the front row, which I love, because having a familiar face there. But when I'm looking around the room, I try to call out people's names. I try to say, hey, listen, let's take Johnny over here, or let's take Ralph, because I want it to be a conversation. I don't want to talk at you, right? I want to talk with you.
Oh, God, yes. Yes.
Yeah, because there's a huge difference when someone's just drolling on and on and on and on and on and on and on. And you go, no, let's just stop for a second. I had a pastor years ago working in the church, and I worked with him in kids ministry. His name's Mike Moore. There's a church here in Tampa called Grace Family Church. They do a lot of great work. And best boss I ever had. We do the Cleats to Clipboard. Who's the best leader you ever had? I always say Mike Moore. Best leader I ever had. And he taught me one time, I was speaking to kids, and as you can tell now, I talk fast and whatever. He's like, "Hey man, you did great. I got to give you some advice." I said, "Okay." He goes, "Let it breathe." So
yes, probably one of the biggest things I've heard. If you guys don't understand what he's saying, I'm sure you're gonna tell. But yes,
let it breathe.
I've had a couple of speeching coaches go, "Listen, man, I love what you're saying, but you just stuck an hour and a half in about 45 minutes."
Yeah.
And I was afraid I didn't have enough content. He's like, no, way opposite.
People can't handle that much, right? You've got about 25 minutes people are checking out. That's why churches are doing it that way for so many years, right? I mean, come on, man. You don't have to be a religious person, but if you're sitting in a church or a thing, you start looking at your watch, you're like, okay, you've lost people, right?
Right.
But there's a line that we use when we talk about leadership. It's one of the modules. I'm embarrassed. I should remember which one it is. But there's a statement there that's a tough one, right? That we look at people and go, hey, there are no bad teams. There are only bad leaders. So if you've been sitting in this module listening to it going, oh, man, my team's terrible. There's not bad teams. There's only bad leaders.
I had just read a book, Extreme Ownership.
That's where it comes from. That's where it comes from.
I'm telling you, when you were saying that, I'm listening to myself go, that's you, dude. You have to be that person and go, you know what? It's not you guys. Yep. You guys came out here. You decided to be here. You put all your faith in me. And something I did was probably not right. Yeah. If I didn't teach you right, if I didn't hold you accountable, if I didn't get your feedback, I didn't do it right. I've got the book amazed me.
I have given away so many copies of that book. Go buy it right now. Like it's fantastic.
Jocko, we love you. I don't expect you to endorse the show, but I love it. It was
you should endorse the show, but it's really good.
You should. But it was a great book.
It's fantastic, and exactly that's where it comes from. There are no bad teams. There's only bad leaders. But you can't say, "Hey, there's no bad teams, only bad leaders." And let me tell you about it. You have to go, "Hey, there are no bad teams. They're only bad leaders."
And let it breathe.
And let people process that for a second and go, ugh, right? Like, that's me. So yeah, your question was how you get over the heebie-jeebies, man. For me, it was just when I walk into a room, I want to value your time. I want to be simple, authentic, and fun. And I want to have a conversation with you. And that's it. And at the end of the day, if someone is like, man, you were terrible, I go, okay, tell me more about that, right? Like, tell me more. What could I have done better for you? Because we're all a work in progress, and we're not everybody's cup of tea, right? And you got to be okay with that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Yes. You have to understand that you're not going to fit every lock with your key.
No,
it just doesn't work that way.
You're not going to.
And small story. Terrified. Mm-hmm. I do a podcast. Mm-hmm. Terrified. My partner and I, a few years ago, there was a show that we were going to be a part of. Mm-hmm. Okay. So it was an RTO World. They said, "Hey, put in your. What are you going to talk about, or a subject that you want to talk about?" We put in for it. We did not get selected. It was okay. We were like, "This is our first time. No big deal.
Right.
Yeah, it's all right." We started talking. So then Gentro calls the Friday before the Monday of the show. She says, "Hey guys, how you doing?" "Hey, we're doing great. Hey, listen, somebody caught COVID." Now back then, when you caught COVID, it was like, "Oh my God!" It was like, "You're gone.
You're gone for 2 weeks.
You're gone 2 weeks.
You're
we're
not
not going to see you, right?"
month.
So it was like, okay. And she's like, "Hey, do you still want to, go on?"
Very cool.
I believe in certain circumstances putting you on your ear. I believe in pivot points. I believe God reaches out and says, "You know what? I think it's your time. Now I'm going to give you the opportunity. What you do with it is on you, but I'm going to give you this opportunity."
Yes.
And so this door opens, and so we're looking at each other like, are we ready for this? The answer was absolutely no. We had nothing ready, no slides, no nothing. So we go through the weekend, and we're really generally trying to get this done. Mm-hmm. Amberly had helped us out. She's at April. She helped us out. We really kind of ran the corner with this thing like full speed. So we're coming out this like, I think we got it. I think we got it. We really didn't even have much time to go over it. Like we're in the hotel room going, okay, your part, then I'll go and you go. So anyways, we did this. And it was right after Dan Fisher and his guy did like a $2 million. They're like, we had this $2 million store in it. And I'm like, who's going to want to stay for us after this guy? Like, he killed it.
Right.
And they got slides and they got people in there. And the room was absolutely just huge. It was huge. More people than it took me a while to get back to that many people again. But I was like, okay. So I came out of that and I'm like, I think I'm more terrified than I was before. Uh-huh. So then later on, Amberly decided that, hey, as a company, we should do commercials. And again, I was like, no, not going to happen. And so my partner's like, you know what? I'll do it. And I was like, there's no way you're going to beat me. There's no, like, it was just, that's the way we were. And that's why the podcast worked, right? So we start doing it. And he was, for the way it worked out, there was always a Laurel and Hardy, right? There's always a Batman and Robin.
Always.
And the way it just worked out was he was always the more serious figure. It just, that's just kind of the way it worked. And so one day I was talking to a dear friend of mine, Stephen Stow, and he's big into mentorship. He's a God-fearing man. I love him to death. And one day I called him up and I said, "Listen, man, I don't know where I stand on this because I'm always in fear of being in front of people, and now I'm playing the Joker. Okay, I'm not sure how that's working for me, and I'm just confused about it." And listen, I was so distraught. I called him while I was shopping in Publix, and we're going down the aisles talking together. And I'm,
some of the best conversations happen while you're shopping.
My hands are flying and everything, and people probably think I'm going crazy. But it happened, and he said something to me that completely changed the way I looked at everything. And he said, "You do realize that it's not that you're better than him or he's better than you. You realize that people watch because it's funny. It's harder to be the comedian than the guy who just walks in and says the straight line."
Oh, yeah.
He's like, you have to have timing. You have to know what's funny. And he goes, half the time you say crap that we don't even put you get a list of words to say, right? There's a script. And he's like, sometimes you go off script because you feel that character would do A, B, or C. And we leave it in there because it's natural. It's like, do you know how hard that is? No.
Right.
And he was like, listen, I think you have a skill that you don't know you have. And so you got to understand what you've been doing is a gift that you have that you didn't even know that you had.
Right.
And so after talking and discussing, I was like, you know what? I needed somebody to tell me that.
Yeah.
And he's one of my dear friends. He will tell me when I'm messing up. Like,
For sure.
He is straight up like, you're an idiot. Don't do that again.
Got to have those people.
Yeah. And so after that, not that I'm great at public speaking, but I did do it. And I was like, you know what? I am way better at it than I was before. Yeah. And I will tackle this until I feel completely, like Will Jackson, who can do it on the job of a dive and make it look good. But I was like, I didn't know that. That feedback meant so much to me. And I think that's one of the things that resonated when I was sitting in your lesson listening to it. It was like, I needed this. I needed somebody to tell me that. I needed that, and I can actually, as he's saying it, I'm putting the words from his mouth to my ear as you're speaking, and I was like, you know what? I needed that. I really needed to hear that. So, also on the other side of that, besides being able to stand up in front of, do a great job in front of everybody, you have an amazing voice.
Oh, thanks.
Do you work on that? Is that natural?
Okay, crazy quick story. No. So growing up, and even going back and listening to myself, old videos or whatever when I was a kid. So I grew up in Alabama, and you can still catch the Southern accent, on certain words, right? But man, okay, this is a crazy story. So I was living in Alabama, moved to Florida, left Florida, went back to Alabama, and my dad, I had no job, and my dad's like, "Well, you can work for me." Well, working for my dad, I was like shoveling rocks in the driveway day one. My dad's an outdoorsman; he has a forestry company, so it's just all outdoors work. And I turned on the radio, and a guy I went to high school with was on our local radio station, and he's doing his DJ thing in the morning. I was like, "Oh, that's cool." Small town Alabama, the way it works. I saw him at a football game Friday night, and I said, "Hey man, heard you on the radio. That's awesome. If you ever need a co-host, let me know." Ha ha ha. I never did radio in my entire life. Never thought about doing it. And he was like, "Oh man, you should come by the station. I'll give you a tour." I said, "Okay." Monday morning, not shoveling rock for my dad. I go Monday morning and I show up. He's like, "Hey, I kind of lied to you." And I said, "What?" He goes, "I'm moving to Tuscaloosa. I need somebody to take my place. I think you'd be great. This is a job interview. My boss is in there waiting for you." And I was like, "Oh, what?" Wow. So I go to the job interview. He gives me the job, and I'm the only DJ in our small town radio station. I do a morning show, 5 to 9. And that was the first time that I actually started listening back to my voice on tape, hearing how it sounded. And then I left there and moved back to Tampa, and I was on QIK here in town for a little bit, 99.5. Nothing no big show, just weekend and night stuff. But man, there's two gentlemen who sadly they're both passed on, but Dave McKay and Randy Price, they used to be Randy and Dave. They really were, I call them my radio Yodas. They brought me in, and I used to go to the morning show, sit with them. Cleats T. Judd was a guy here in town for a while. I'd worked with him for a while, and they were all just so giving and like, hey man, you can do this, you can do that. And it just kind of, I don't know. Like, I mean, I can't say I ever worked on it, but maybe listening to people long enough in that industry, just going, okay, well, maybe say things like that, or maybe do this. And so, yeah. But I appreciate that.
Have you ever done this? This is something that I do. I don't know if everybody knows this. When I tell you this, I'm gonna confess to Will Jackson.
Come on, bring it on.
You can post on Facebook every day. You can go live, drop great deals, and it matters. But here's the problem: only a tiny slice of people ever see it. That's the trap of organic. The people you need to reach, well, they're still scrolling right past you. That's where Gerard Marketing comes in. They turn strangers into customers by using Facebook ads that put you in front of everyone, not just a handful who already follow you. The dealers we work with are seeing more leads, more deliveries, and more cash in the door. So if you want momentum, stop waiting on organic posts alone to do the job. Go to fastrtodeliveries.com and let's get your ads working for you. That's fastrtodeliveries.com. I actually started modeling the way I talk after a radio host. And sometimes, I got to say, like sometimes I'll find myself not only listening to the content of the podcaster, I'm listening to the presentation.
Yeah, for sure.
How it comes out, what they're saying, how they're resonating, how their PowerPoints, how they're coming through and saying this one point. And sometimes they'll say that point again. Let me say that again. This is what you need to do. This is what you need to focus on. Right. If you get anything out of this, stop and listen to this. And I was like, I don't have a class to take, so I'm really learning from these guys, from the people on the radio, the people on podcasting,
for sure.
and just going, wow.
Yeah.
You know, I actually, just to put it out there, I actually enrolled in Masterclass.
Oh yeah,
because I'm going to start watching video. Did you really?
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah, so
I love
I'm
Masterclass.
Somebody's gonna show me something.
Oh yeah.
And I've been on this huge learning curve for like the last 2 years,
dude. But that goes back to what we've been talking about, right? Like you took the initiative to say, hey, I want to get better at something. If you've ever seen somebody on stage, and listen, anybody who's like, yeah, man, I was just born with it, natural talent. I just jumped up on the stage, or I just started a podcast, and then from there it just took off. No, they're lying to you, right? They're just lying to you. They're not being authentic and saying it's been a lot of work. It's been a lot of even things they wouldn't think to call work, right? Like Masterclass, I'm sure is fun for you. You're watching it, you listen to the thing, you're learning, but that's work. It's just because you love it. And listen, again, I've heard your show, and we said it earlier. My dad used to tell me the same thing. Once you find something that you love, you'll never work a day in your life, right? And so if you're out there and you're like, oh man, I'd love to do a podcast. Oh man, I'd love to get up and have a public speaking or do this. Like, just know that you just need to become a student of everyone you come across. I mean, I'm watching you today. We talked about it before we started the show. I told you, I'm like, hey man, please let's go to lunch. I'd love to pick your brain because you've made a successful podcast, and that's not easy, right? And yeah, be a student of everyone. We say in the leadership training, Epictetus, Stoic philosophy. I won't get started. We don't have enough time. Ryan Holiday, Daily Stoic. Look it up. It's been a life changer for me. First book I ever read when I went on this journey for me was Ego is the Enemy. Ryan Holiday, again, don't know how much we can shout out authors and stuff on your podcast, but great stuff.
Well, listen, if you guys are listening, we do read your books.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, one of my last books before this one, and I just finished Extreme Ownership, and I actually picked up The Dichotomy of Leadership by them.
Okay, haven't read that one yet.
Yeah, that's about to start. So I actually started with Simon Sinek, Leaders Eat Last, and
so good.
Start with Your Why.
So good.
And man, those eye-opening. It was like the fog started like kind of separating a little bit, and it was like I can make the shapes out now. Right. I can see a little bit clearly. And as the book started coming in, and as the communications started getting better, it was like I see something, a direction where I want to go. And I stand and I tell my guys all the time, listen, we're standing on a map. Where you want to go is up to you.
Yeah.
You tell me where you want to go. You want to go north, south, east, west. You want to go to the beach. You want to go to Vegas. You want to do this. Just tell me where you want to go. Because that's how we get that. You don't start driving and hoping that you're going to go there. You're going to go, I need to go here, and then you start driving.
100%. You will drift otherwise.
Yeah.
And here's what, to even bring it back to our industry and what we do. Rent to own. Here's what we teach a lot of people who come in and who've never done rent to own. We have a lot of franchises who they buy into R&R, but they've never known rent to own. So we teach them like, hey, this business really is all about relationship. And if you're sitting here listening to this and you're an RTO, for you, even if you're a salesperson, right? If you're like, hey, I don't want to be a leader, I'm a salesperson. Pick up some of these books and read them, because our
absolutely.
business is people, right? It's people. Even more so than I would say someone who does retail, right? Because someone's going to come in, we tell our people, hey, someone's going to come in and buy tires from, tire shop B down the street, right? And they're not going to see them again for another 2 years. But rent to own, we have regulars. We have people that we talk to all the time. It's almost like a restaurant. It's almost like the hospitality industry to go, you need to know people because you're serving them every single day. So when like the things we teach in our classes, if you can get rid of your ego, if you can learn to take feedback, if you can, if you can be authentic with people, if you can, create great boundaries for your team, all these things, they're not just designed for leaders, they're designed for anybody. So if you're out there going, I don't want to read that stuff because I'm not leadership, I'm just go and do my job every day. If you're in rent to own, you can absolutely benefit from learning people better. And pour into yourself, like you've been saying. Again, to quote other shows of yours, it's and even today is hey, you are the biggest asset that you can work on, right? And so take time and do that kind of stuff. And the Epictetus quote is, you can't learn that which you think you already know. And
oh God, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
You can't learn that which you think you already know. So if you're like, man, I've been in this industry 40 years, 50 years, man, be careful, because the moment you get to a place where you go, I've learned it all,
that's a downfall.
Yeah, man. So people are going to pass you. Right? Because those people who are hungry and who can learn from anybody, they're going to continue to do that. And you're going to be left in the dust and going, oh, what happened? Well, you stop learning. You stop growing.
Well, you've done a great job in creating this persona, the guy who has the ability to teach leaders. Mm-hmm. You come from a place where you had to be humbled. You're here now. How does that translate to the R&R social media? Because you're the face of that as well. Listen, I said it before. I said I got a face for radio. You have the ability not only to have the voice, but you have the ability to command what's going on video, and you do that very well, especially what's going on with social media. Because in rent to own, we need it, and to be able to do that is, and I've got to say, it is different than standing in front of a group of your peers and saying, this is how you do leadership, this is how you do this, how you do that, or reading a book. Social media is its own beast, and yet you've managed to do that very well.
Yeah, thanks,
man.
So
how did that transition happen? Like somebody said, hey, man, we need to be able to do social media better. Will Jackson's going to do it.
Well, I got to give credit to Adam for that one. He's the one who said, hey, we should bring this guy in. And Michelle Ross, she's our, I mess up people's titles at R&R all the time. I want to say National Content Coordinator, Director. Sorry, Michelle, I know what you do. But she is so great at making it so easy. Her and Brian, they come together, they write all the scripts, they do all the stuff. If I had to say anything, man, if you're out there and how do I connect better people on social media? Just be authentic. People can see right through you. Another quote from our leadership class is to say, the less transparent you are, the more people can see right through you.
Wow, that's a good quote.
Yeah, because because for me, I think when you're disingenuine, right, whether it's on film, in person, man, people, it's like blood in the water. People sniff that out immediately, and they go, I don't trust that person, right? So when I'm on camera, I just try my best to go, hey, what would I want to watch? Who would I connect with? What would I want this person to say? When we're giving away a car to single moms, dude, I'm just as excited for that single mom.
I'm not going to lie to you, because I do research on everybody that comes on the show, and that's the last one I saw.
Yeah, man. It's like I'm just as excited when we're awarding people any prize that we've given them. I think to myself, how would I feel? I don't want to be like, hey, and congratulations, here's your car. It's like, no, dude, here's your car. Like, you won a free car. And it really is about just saying, hey, I just want to be real. I don't want you to turn the camera off today on this show, and then me and you be like, hey, man, so all that stuff I said was just, BS, and I'm just, no.
Here's your keys.
Yeah, see you later. Right. I want to be the same person I am when the light is on and when the light is off. And when you do that, people just feel it. Whether you're giving away a car or you're teaching leadership, right? People can go, yeah, I trust that person. Okay, listen, gonna nerd out for just a second. I'm an old soul. I love Johnny Carson. I have so many Johnny Carson DVDs and The Tonight Show. I just love that era. And Johnny Carson wasn't anything special, but it's just when you read interviews, I've read so many biographies of his. He goes, hey, people just felt like they knew him. He was in their home every single night. And if you go watch him, again, doing research, watching people, learning from them, Johnny Carson was just this guy. He was just he did a show. He was one of the most popular people on the planet for his time. but he was just very humble, right? He was just very, I mean, not in his personal life, but on TV, he was very, hey, I'm here. I'm just here to be my authentic self. And yeah, man, you learn from that, and you grow from learning from people like that, and just be yourself. That's it.
Yeah. Well, the way I was looking at it is because R&R is doing things, in my opinion, and I'm not saying that others aren't doing it.
No,
I
of
just
course.
see that every time that you guys see a need, there's an address. Okay, let's address that. Let's
Right.
fix that. And it's not. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with the old school or methods that have happened before, but I do see the need to upgrade a little bit, make it a
Yes.
little bit newer, because we have a lot of generations here that have access to things that we just didn't have at a certain time in our life. Listen, I learned differently than my daughter. I guarantee you
Same.
that she can navigate a tablet way better than
yeah.
I can. She's 5. So it's one of those things like, I know that it's different. I know that it's not the same. When you and the team of R&R said, we need this leadership, we need to be able to have somebody who can show this, it was in a response, I would imagine, to somebody either saying, we had this one occurrence or we've had a few occurrences, we've got to address this. I would imagine that it's gotten better. How do you feel about the state of RTO right now? Is this something that we need to do overall? Is this something that I should tell every single, owner, hey man, you probably should have or implement or do something into the effect? And not that I'm saying that they should do that, but
No,
in
I
conversation, hey, if you're having this problem, this is probably an avenue you should go down.
Yeah.
Do you feel like rent-to-own can use that right now?
Absolutely. I think everyone can use it, but I think rent to own for sure. And we're specifically talking about the leadership training stuff, right? Yeah. Okay. So 100%. I think every industry needs it. I think our industry, because of the relational aspect of our industry, it can only help us, right? And if you're out there and you're going, oh, I've got these people who they're fantastic salespeople, they're fantastic account specialists, they do all this stuff, but when it comes to people, I mean, we tell people, if you have a store and you're looking at the store and there's a bunch of turnover, right? Well, the first person I'm looking at is the leader. People don't leave a position; they leave a person. And so, with leadership training, you can reduce turnover. We've seen it increase sales. I know you had Adam on, and he talked about DX3 and creating a great culture. That's what it is, right? You have to create a great culture within your organization. People have to be happy because, listen, there's no way that if you're a leader, whether you're a CEO, whether you're a regional manager, whether you're a manager, there is no way that you can touch every single customer. There's no way that you can touch every single person that comes into your store. That's going to be your team. And if that team is burned out, if that team is unhappy, if that team feels unheard, a list of things there, your customers are going to feel that, right? Your customers are going to feel that disgruntled, that disengaged team member. And so I would say, heck yeah, right? Their leadership training will never, ever hurt your organization. It can only help your organization. And if there's any way that we can help anybody else out there to go, hey, here's what we've done. This is not hey, this is ours, not yours. These are principles that we have taken from books, that we have taken from conversations. There's things that me and you will talk about today. I always love when we do one of these things. I'll tell people, the cool thing we got to do is we got to take this all around the country with our franchisees. And shout out to Mr. Ryan Schrader. You talk about not being ready and being scared. We had done this for our MITs, but Ryan just, knocked on my door one day and he's like, hey, I like this leadership training thing. We should take it on the road. And I said, oh, okay. He's like, we got our national conference. I'd like to announce it and let's take it to Virginia. And I said, okay. Had no idea what we were doing. R&R Virginia was the Roses. They were kind enough to go like, yeah, come do it. And supportive of us, not knowing what it was going to be. And Jonathan and Ron, I tell them all the time, thank you for having us in. And Ron Russell, they just did such a solid to us of having us out there. But yeah, man, we're in classes and people will say stuff and I'm like, oh, and I'll tell them like, hey, just so you know, I'm stealing that for our next talk and I'll put your name under it. Like, hey, blah, 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 Lily, right? Like she said that because we just learn from each other. And so to get back to the point, I would say, if you're out there and you're thinking, should I do this? Could I do this? Yeah, you should. And I'll help you any way I can because we can only get better as an industry. We're all in this together. When one of us wins, everyone wins, right? And when one of us loses, everyone loses. If somebody comes in and to a different, RTO store that's not R&R and they have a bad experience with rent to own, well, then they're going to call their cousin and be like, dude, don't do rent to own. That was a terrible experience. So when you win, we win, right? And when we lose, you lose. It's we need to be in this together. So yeah, I would encourage anyone to do leadership training. It can only help you. There's absolutely no way it can hurt you.
You know what's funny? And I said this to them. They did not listen to me. I'll tell you guys right now. So I'm walking through in Omaha. I'm walking through the bridge to the conference center, you know, because you got to go over, then to go down. And as I'm coming up the hotel side, going over the bridge, I happen to actually walk with Ron and his brother. And I said, you know, guys, just so you guys know, there's a lot of people that mention your names as I go on. I talk to a lot of people. And they were like, they both of them. Nah, that's not true.
So humble.
Listen, guys, they talk about the roses. They really do.
Yeah.
So if you're listening, I want you to understand. Will said it, and I say it. You guys are important to what's going on. Everybody's important to what's going on. And I am so worried about the future of rent to own and the development part and what happens. But listen, I want to play a little game with you.
Please.
We're going to do some rapid fire real quick.
Let's do it. Come on.
Okay. So, biggest leadership mistake you've made and learned from.
Okay. Got to pick one real quick. I would say biggest leadership mistake I've learned from is this is going to sound so simple, but I'm just going to say it. Man, question yourself first. I always used to assume I was right? I'm right. You know, dude, embarrassing story. I worked at a church and I literally was almost in a fist fight with somebody over a lighting package for a kid's service, right? And you let your tempers fly. You get, you know, I'm always right. I can't be wrong. Just had somebody call me out on this last week. They're like, you know what you say a lot? Like, oh, hey, I would have done this. Dude, you got to remove that from your vocabulary, right? Be curious, not combative, right? When you're in a situation to where you feel like I'm right, be curious instead of combative. Hey, tell me more about that. How could I have done that differently? So yeah, my biggest mistake is I was combative for a long time and still can be.
You know, I can tell you right now, it takes a lot to be able to recognize that. Congratulations.
Not fun.
Number 2, one book that every new manager should read.
Okay. Ego is the Enemy. I feel like really Ryan Holiday, Ego is the Enemy, or Jocko Willink, Extreme Ownership. Both of those paired together, if you only read those 2 books, you'd be a better leader immediately.
Ego is the Enemy. I'm going to have to remember that one. I have to take that one in. Best piece of advice you received about leadership.
Best piece of advice that I've received about leadership. I would say you cannot expect what you don't inspect. Again, Mike Moore, he would always go back to, you know, you can get upset about so-and-so did this and blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, are you talking to him? Did you ask them questions? Did you just give them a task and let them go, right? And then come back later and be like, what happened here? You cannot expect what you don't inspect. Be in contact with your people, have one-on-one meetings, build relationships with them. Don't just check in every now and then because you're the leader and I got better stuff I got going on. No, those people are what you have going on, right?
Yeah.
So.
Oh, the first person I ever heard that from was Phil Hammer and Buddies. Like, shout out to you, Phil. I heard that. What would 5 years ago Will be most surprised about regarding your current role?
That I'm doing anything with tires. Okay. So truly, 5 years ago, me, I would probably be very surprised. That, yeah, man, I'm getting to do what I get to do. I'm going to be honest with you. This has been the best year of my life professionally I've ever had, right? And it's been because, going back to what we said already, I'm getting to do what I love to do. Man, just a shout out to A-Pro, to be able to go to A-Pro and do what we did. Charles, Jen, like that whole team. I'd never been to A-Pro. It was my first time going, and I just came back singing.
Oh, was it?
My first time, man.
Really?
My first time.
Tell me, did you enjoy it?
Loved
I
it.
loved it.
Loved it.
I love dunking everybody, too.
Dude, so much fun. So much fun. I loved it. I did. I've come back and told our whole team, like, hey, we need to be there. More of us need to be there. We need to support that because just the people and the organization is fantastic. So, 5 years ago, me would be astonished that I'm getting to do this, because 5 years ago, me would just have been coming out of being just one of the worst leaders that you can possibly imagine. And so to be able to go around and help people learn from the mistakes I've made and be that information broker that Joe Peachy talks about, he'd be very, very surprised and be very happy to be sitting here with you.
You're doing a great job.
Thank you.
I will tell you this. Before I get into the final cut, I wanted to so much be a part of something. Apro's given me a chance to do that.
Yeah.
And I love that. Are you going to go to Advocate at DC this year?
Oh, I don't know. I will tell. Listen, every time I see Charles, I'm like, hey man, anything I can do, whatever I can do, I just think. Listen, I'm sorry. This is gonna sound like brown nose, and it's really not. I met Charles at one of our franchise conferences, and everything that was said about him when they gave him the award when they stood up this year is just so true. I've never, and I saw him in Missouri at Mr. Carrico's conference I was able to go to. He just is who he says he is and does what he says he does, and very thankful for him and the organization. So I'll tell you right now, Charles, if you're listening, and I hope you are, anything I can ever do to help out APRO, you guys just let me know, and I'm there.
Okay.
So,
Every time I talk to Charles now, I jab him in the ribs, and I'm like, doctor. He literally is a doctor, and he's a lawyer, doctor. This guy has so many S's on his chest.
I know.
I jab him because it's fun, but he is probably one of the smartest people I've ever met in my life. And he's very genuine, and he really cares about what happens to APRO. He cares to happen what happens in RTO, and that's why I care about what happens in DC. So, just to let you guys know, APRO is doing DC this year, the 15th to the 17th in April. If you want to go to LegCon, hit up at the time. APRO is at rtohq.org, and you definitely want to check it out because it is so important. And if you get to go, listen, I hope you do, because it's so important. But last words, I wanted to get back to the F word.
All right.
God, so where
Let's
did
talk
that?
about
So, I'll let you describe what the F word is.
Yeah.
But man, did that, the whole thing. I'm just going to tell you right now. And of course, yes, I was in the front, but I enjoyed the whole thing.
Thank you.
I really did, because when you said the text, I literally did that. And he was like, oh, thank you.
And that's awkward, right?
Okay, it was awkward. And I was like, God, I don't do this enough.
No, yeah.
He was right. I don't do it enough.
Yeah.
I didn't do it enough. And it shocked me because you think you're doing a good job.
Right.
And you are that one person and you have people behind you. No, that's you. That's your echo chamber going, you're doing a good job, people. When you look back there's nobody there. That's you thinking that. It's you thinking that.
Say that again for the people in the back. What you just said is so powerful. You have that voice in your head that's telling you, man, you're doing awesome. Well, that's your voice, right?
Yeah.
If other people aren't telling you that without you, because remember, if you're a leader, people are going to tell you good things. They're not going to tell you bad things. You're going to have to seek out that feedback. There's a quote like, hey, if you're a leader and you have to tell people you're a leader, you're not.
You already failed.
Yeah, other people will say it for you.
That's
so
it.
The F word. Okay, back to simplicity, authenticity, and fun. The F word for me, it's feedback, right? And it started out, we had a thing on feedback and just me wanting to have fun with people and make leadership class fun. I mean, that literally is the way it is, so that it goes on a billboard or the sheet and people are like, oh, the F word, what's that? So that you come in, because I'd be like, hey, feedback, how to be better.
Right.
It's like, oh, I don't know what really do that. F word, I'm in, right? And we try to make it fun, simple, and authentic. And really, feedback for me was something that I still struggle with at times, that I need to be better at. I talk about it in the class about my face, right? When Adam's giving me feedback and he said, hey, your face is all like, terrible.
I love that slide. I love that slide
I don't,
because that's me. Sometimes I'm looking at the video and I'm going, Pete, you got to do a better job on that.
Right. And